Okay, so I would like to invite our guests for the next panel. Simon Jenner. Hello. How are you? Welcome. Same here. Simon has been working with young entrepreneurs in West Midlands by volunteering as a business mentor for the Prince's Trust and by creating Birmingham Entrepreneurs. Now he's leading the development of the entrepreneurship and startup agenda through his position as CEO at Oxygen Enterprise Partners. Hello. Okay, in 2008, he launched Adventures in Business, a vehicle for creating new entrepreneurial startups. Daria Batukhtina, yes. She's a startup evangelist for corporate and public initiatives with focus on emerging markets and Europe. She's a tech blogger covering a lot of aspects of IT entrepreneurship and actual events in Europe, and I think that you're here as a representative for TechPeaks, First People Accelerator. First People Accelerator, and that is based in Trento in Italy. I've seen pictures, very beautiful there. Mihai Sfintescu, he's a partner at 3TS. He's a senior private equity and investment banking professional with experience in mergers, acquisitions, management, and he's specializing on strategy and financials. He's responsible for the Romanian investment, sourcing, transactions, and portfolio management. And Luka Sucic, hi. He's a business development manager and evangelist at raum. It's a kick-ass accelerator in Berlin, Germany. He has a strong background in automotive education, gaming, fashion, digital startups, mobile applications development. He's awesome. He knows a lot of stuff. Okay, and the moderator for this panel is this amazing person that I met a long time ago. Her name is Anca. It's me again. Since Bogdan couldn't attend today, Andra took his place on the main stage, so I'm replacing Andra as well, and this is why I'm here. So welcome, guys. We are going to talk about, and this is why I have the papers, because I wasn't really prepared, thoroughly for this, but I have worked with a lot of teams, and I've seen amazing teams, and I've seen teams. So I think I have some experience, from my time with Startup Weekend. So for investors, the team is the most important aspect. And also, for applying to an accelerator. And together with you guys, we are going to discuss what types of personalities, abilities, and motivation a startup team needs to make it in the long term and deliver the best results. So generally speaking, people tend to hire people like themselves. I'm going to make a startup with my best buddy. And we are so awesome together, and we have the same lifestyle, and we do the same things, we love the same things. Can this be balanced with the defined purpose of hiring the right person for the job? Like, should they do this? What do you guys think? Where's the fourth microphone? Did it come back?
Hello. So the question was about who do we hire and how do we hire people that are different from us? I guess, so if you're coming onto an accelerator like us, we'll help you with that because we'll do psychometric tests so you can work out whether the team works. But that's probably a bit too late. So yeah, of course you can do that kind of thing. You can do some psychometric tests. But ultimately, you want a really balanced team. You want your dev guy to be the real geeky guy, or girl, and you want your CEO to be the hustler that goes out and sales, and those two are completely different personalities, but you're really looking for a real different dynamic within the team, but they still need to be able to work together.
The question is why it's bad to hire people like you are, and because it also depends from the stage and when the startup, at which stage startup is. And if it's in the beginning, and I would totally agree, it's about, let's say, some complementary skills which should exist in the team. And the next question is that people should have passion and emotional commitment. And then why it's bad to have similar, like personalities a bit. But it's a different story about what you are doing, either you designer, programmer, or business developer.
Yeah, but I would contradict you, actually. I don't think people tend to hire people like themselves. I've seen many good entrepreneurs that are actually going after completely different personalities, and it's a very clear reason. Because they have a certain personality, they don't like to do certain things, and they are looking to people that can do those things and enjoy that. And I've seen quite often successful teams where it's a completely different personality at the top among the two founders, or perhaps you have a founder and a deputy CEO. And so I think excuse me, that naturally some good entrepreneurs by instinct are actually going after a different personality and a different skill set. And obviously, as was said before, this is something that it's very important for the investors to see that you have complementary skills and different type of judgment in a team.
When you say that startups tend to, hire people like themselves, it's basically the reason why is because startups are really hard. You work long hours, you work, your ass off, and if you have someone who is not, let's say, mentally and by character compatible with you, then you have a problem. You have early problems in the start. So they tend to pick people who are also passionate about the topic that they're using, but also, compatible by personality. So that's one of the reasons. If they click, they click, It's usually by, I don't know, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, a geeky guy, what you said, a really, geeky guy and a hustler. But they are compatible, by personalities somehow.
Yeah, but to be compatible in terms of personality doesn't mean you have to be identical. And I think I've attended a course at some point which shows that, for instance, in a marriage, people tend to be the opposite. So we are naturally attracted to people that are different than we are, and I think the same goes for hiring. So that's why, in my book, I don't think we're going after the same people like us. Of course, we have to share the same passion and values. And speaking of the two Steves from Apple, obviously they have very different personalities and interests. Of course, they shared certain things, but in the end, one was a business and product person, the other was a brilliant geek.
So
okay. Bad example.
Talking about the roles in a company, like how each of them should be complementary, what are the key roles that a startup needs?
I think Dylan mentioned it, in the last panel. You need a hustler and you need a developer,
That's it?
But basically for early stage.
That's a good question. It's like, for example, if you have already a product or something, what programmer develop, and then the good question how to sell it. So it depends, as I said, on the stage.
Okay, so what's the first person that a startup should hire?
Sales.
Sales, he said sales.
I think it depends on the profile of the founder, because for instance, if the founder is a salesperson, obviously he needs somebody who's process oriented to take care of the technology.
There was an article a few days ago about the management, the co-founders that are trying to manage people all the time, and it comes a time when the co-founders, maybe they're not managers, they're not supposed to be managers, or they're not made to be managers. A lot of them just build it up to a certain point and then they let it go for some other people to take over. So do you think that during different stages of a startup, they need to hire different people? And once, like it's an early stage startup, so you need people that are independent, innovative, creative and driven. And once you reach a successful stage, do you need to let these people go and hire more process-oriented people? Or do you stick with those guys and try to do something else? What do you guys think?
So firstly, 3 is the magic number for a startup. There's been a bunch of academic research around this. 3
as co-founders.
As co-founders, yes. So 3 is magic number, and if one of those is a female, they raise more, they get more revenue, they just do things better. So you need 2 guys and a girl, or 3.
I'm for hire.
There you go. So that's where you need to start with. At least 2 is minimum for an accelerator, but 3 is ideal. And you're going to be changing people as you grow. And some people are absolutely right for a startup. you know, many startup founders are not in the business in 10 years' time because they're not the right people when it gets to process and really boring stuff. They're not the right people, they're startup people. So yeah, you need to swap people out.
We can go like as start like 3 in the beginning, and then there is much more about passion and emotional commitment. Then you start to define some functionalities, yeah, who is doing what. It's from 3 to 10 people, let's say something, when you're growing and trying to, let's say, to show that you can do something. And then when you have more than 10 people, it's already about escalation, and it's already about really structurizing your company or something like this. So it depends, yeah, and roles, I mean, here as we said, like designers, sometimes you can take somebody from outsource, but if, for example, you have a shitty product, nobody buys it, then you need really somebody who will figure out what's happening and find out the way to sell it or to market it. So that's it.
Can I just add, I don't think you can have a startup today without a designer. The UI is so, UI, UX is so important these days.
And then their presentations suck.
Yeah, you need them for all sorts of things, like for your pitch slides, for the product, for the, you just need them. And outsource doesn't work, not in
But
the early
the designers
days.
are hidden. How do you find them? What are the best channels, you know, to recruit for startups? Because designers, I was a designer. I did design for like 4 years. I freelanced, and it's a pretty closed community. So how do you pull them out of their?
Are we talking only about designers or
Right now, yeah,
any
just
kind
really
of?
very
Okay.
briefly about designers.
So, but it's really depends. For example, in terms of designers, it's about mainly about challenge and them to get into your product, you know. So because since they are all freelancers, they can make money. That's very easy. The question here is if they are very much emotional with you on the first phase, and they can really feel that they bring the impact. I think it's a very serious problem also to define the role of founder, designer as founder, because people, majority of them, they don't see that there is a huge impact in this area, and they can bring a different experience and help to define, for example, customers' needs better. And that's the role which is not well estimated right now. Mainly everybody count on programmers. So it would be great if this will push further.
I had the same problem. One of my startups, early startups, you know, 3 co-founders, developer, hustler, obviously, hustler and a designer. What happened is perception of designer as a co-founder is, or you are not pulling your weight in. You know, we are working, you know, our asses off, the guy's coding 24/7, I'm trying to sell, and what do? You just scribble something on the paper. So I agree fully with you. That the hardest thing I found is find a good designer who is compatible with a startup and a product. That's it. The developers, you can find it mostly anywhere. It's generic.
Yeah, and there are a lot of startups that became successful just because they had an amazing UI.
Yeah, I would like to add here, because that's something that we see quite often, is that teams and perhaps not early stage startups, but a bit later stage startups, they lack a solid business person in the management team. I mean, let's not forget, we're not doing technology, we're doing technology business. So somebody needs to be a business person, needs to understand how the business is run, how you make money, how much can you pay as costs for various items. And this is an area where I would advise people to focus on, perhaps once they kind of are advanced with the product, to make sure there is a solid business person who understands how to make business and how to make money out of the product.
I would know.
Because it was a question before whether accelerators are in for the money, and you know it was answered in a shrewd way. But you know, let's face it, investors want to make money. I mean, we invest to make money, and ultimately entrepreneurs should make money as well. So if you don't have a business person, is quite unlikely that you'll make money. You might develop a good technology, but probably somebody else will make money out of it.
Okay, practical tip, you ask where to search for these people. So if you will really make a simple research on Facebook, there are plenty of groups where you can just easily reach people based on location where you are. And like, for example, in Berlin, there are some kind of like startup employers or hiring in a startup and so on. Or in Italy, we have the same things. Another idea is like also clubs and meetups, like the tons of them, like opening Eventbrite, and then it depends where you are, you just can figure out who is meeting where, designers, programmers, and so on. And one more thing, what happening is like, for example, when people applying, everybody knows what is F6, yeah, here. F6, yeah. So for us, in our case, for example, at TechPix, when we launch application form, people start to match exactly at the chat when they were applying to the program. So sometimes when you're applying, there are so many people doing the same, and they're trying to find co-founders. So in our case, it was like people were doing even well, even applying for the program itself.
Yeah, I mean, my advice if you're looking for any particular skill is maybe go and find a bunch of freelancers, give them a project, and then the ones that you like and think are on, can do stuff for you that looks good, then just try and, court them in. This is, being in a startup is worse than a marriage. You spend longer hours with your founders than you will with any partner you've got, and
Seriously.
therefore the chemistry needs to work. So you need to go for a beer, you need to go for a coffee, and you just need to work out whether it's going to work with those guys.
The rants that I hear from startup founders about each other is like, seriously? That sounds like a marriage. Yeah. But it's fun.
We concentrated on designers, but let's say for developers, it's pretty obvious. We have a couple of companies, startups with later stages after they seed, and they do hackathons. Small hackathons, with a iPhone and an iPad as a prime, prize. Set a team and say, guys, 12 o'clock, let's say 8 o'clock tonight, and we finish in the morning. And the best guys, we like, get the iPad and a job, and the rest of you got some, that's a, let's say, useful tool.
Do you guys have any questions? There's one. Yay, two. Okay. I'm going to do the questions now to not cut you short again.
My name is Dumitru. I'm founder of Rently, a local startup in Romania. I'm a business guy. We have 3 founders, and we met at a hackathon named Startup Weekend in Bucharest. I'm very agree with Mihai, what you told. It's about business tech. It's not just about tech. And I study all the things which is related to business. Like I graduated School for Startups in Bucharest. I attend all these events, and I'm trying to learn more and more. And I found that I have some problems. I need to learn more about business. So how we do this? How a business guy can find information about about business part.
Talk with founders. Talk with founders. That's the best thing which you can do. Never block yourself in the office or in coding and doing something. Go and talk. And founders, kind of like a source, can tell you much more real information how they deal with something than books or something else.
And don't go to an MBA school.
Go on an accelerator.
Yeah.
The obvious answer. Just my thought on, the startups are all about business, but you need strong other skills in there. Your other founders need to be equally as good at what they do, because you're looking for the perfect storm within that startup. And you need a bit of everything there, because the investors or your customers want good tech, they want good UI, and they want good business. But you should get out, as was said, get out of the bubble. Go to other countries, go to other hackathons, go to all sorts of events. Yeah, it's a must.
Yeah. Once you're pretty established as a startup, I think you can try to get a few advisors if you want, former entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs that, and there are a few in Romania as well, and they can, help people that you can, call or email or tweet, whatever, and then you get some feedback from them. And I think that's very useful, and that you'll get very personalized advice from them.
Yeah. Also, sometimes it seems counterintuitive, but what you do is when you have a startup, you have a sort of a tunnel vision, and you look about only your specific environment. But what can you do is reach out and see how the business is done in other parts of the, let's say, agriculture, or I don't know, finance services, those kind of stuff, because then you can find different, let's say, business models that you never, thought of, or maybe sales pitches, sales, let's say, approaches that you never, thought of again. So
let's discuss the personality issue. I was having a discussion earlier with someone, and we were talking about how startup founders in Romania, I'm just going to pick on you guys because you're my people, are full of themselves. Like, they have this attitude, like, I'm a startup, and I'm awesome, and you should, like, totally, like, admire me because I'm doing my own thing. Like, how does the personality of a startup founder should look like? From an investor point of view, for example. Or an accelerator, or...
I heard only one word very often from investors who are in charge with tech peaks, with our people accelerator. The word is coachable. Be coachable. I mean, that's great that you're expert in something, but if you're not able to listen and to develop yourself, develop the business, then it will be difficult to do anything.
I know, but don't you think that entrepreneurs usually have, like, it's the background of entrepreneurs, or especially the good ones, they're high school dropouts. There are people that are not good at being coachable. There are people that are, no, I want to do this, and, I mean, they are developing themselves, but they are also not very coachable. Like, they're very independent. So I think that's also on the side of the accelerators to figure out how to coach a very independent person.
So, I mean, I agree. We look for someone that's really confident, because you need that in a business, particularly for the hustler and the front. They need to be, but behind the scenes, they also need to be coachable. They need to be a little bit humble. They need to understand what they know and what they don't know. There's time for bullshit, but there's also time for saying, actually, I haven't got a clue. I need your help. And if they can't do both, just being the kind of front guy that stands up and just gives the bullshit is not enough.
I think you also need to see passion and enthusiasm and ambition, and if they are confident, that's a plus, but their ambition has to be higher than their ego, and then they learn, because if you're, even if you have ego, but if your ambition is bigger, then you still want to learn from somebody, even if it affects your ego, because ultimately you want to be somewhere in 5 year time, and that's the other thing. They need to be impatient in execution, but patient in achieving the ultimate objective, and not try to take money from the business from the year one or something, because you're in for the long run.
Maybe the test should be we put everybody up on the stage that wants to be a CEO founder, and we get Mike Butcher just to destroy them. And if you survive that, you're good. You can go.
I would agree. That would be a very good test. And what was said at the panel before, actually, the guy said, like, if the idea is bad, you will never be able to deal with you will be able to improve it if you have a good team. Yeah, if it's vice versa, like bad team, bad personalities, and good idea, never. Something will work, even this can die. So what I could tell you honestly, like, for example, in our side, since we're dealing with individuals, yeah, we have certain questions which actually showing the personality of the person, that he is able to learn based on the previous background or something. And the second thing, what we are looking for also, since we're accelerating individuals, challenge. That people would like to face challenge and to change something in this life. And
okay.
That might work. Let's see.
I think what Mike did was very fast, like lightning customer validation. I actually like that thing. You wanted to say something? No? To add? Okay, so cocky is not really that good, right?
Definitely.
Cocky?
No.
You know that American term? Okay, how can mentors, advisors, and investors be leveraged to find the right people for a startup?
So I guess, what lots of mentors and all those types of people are doing, they're seeing lots of individuals, and they're seeing lots of startups, and they're seeing lots of failed startups. And individuals or founders from failed startups are great because they've learned a bunch of things that you can now learn from. So if they can introduce you, if you're looking for a designer or a CEO or whatever, if they can introduce you to the right people that maybe have already failed, then those are the guys that you want on the team, because they've learned a bunch of stuff that you don't now need to learn. So yeah, use them. Just ask.
What's the extent of hustling? There are a lot of questions that are popping into my mind right now. There are people that understand hustling from a very wrong perspective, so they are being obnoxious, really.
It's connected to the cockiness thing. A hustler is a guy who can, I don't sell anything, but in a nice way, charming, polite, nice, but can sell something. Who can charm Mike Butcher, who can do anything. A good hustler is all those things. A bad hustler is someone who is, goes out the stage and you say, oh my God, what was this? Why? So there is a difference between hustler and a hustler,
Do you have any more questions? You can do your thing. I don't want to take your job.
Hello, I'm Victor. I'm co-founder of Favorite, and my question is regarding all of your programs. Do you have something that addresses the part of the team, as mean training on teams like leadership trainings, or how to make the teams perform better working with themselves?
Since we're talking, we are working with individuals and with teams. We accelerate both. And one more thing, we accelerate people even with ideas and without. That's also very important. This is the way how we see it. When people are arriving, we really help them to match and to find the roles which they could play, if they are leaders or not, and so on. And we also do a lot of team building, which actually help them to understand if they are able to work together and continue to do something or not. So if may say about TechPeaks, then it's really about talents development much more than business development, because business development is starting later of the program itself.
Yeah, so no is the quick answer for that. We don't do anything along those grounds just because we don't have time. 13 weeks, we're moving at a real pace. What we do is we try to select teams that are already built and look like they're going to work together well or have been working well. So, if they turn up and say, yeah, we met 2 weeks ago, probably not for us. If you've been working together for, a year or whatever, then maybe. But I have to say, our biggest failure rate is still startup divorces. Founders divorce during the program. We lose at least one team each year just because they just can't work together anymore, and that just destroys the startup. So it's not about product market fit. It's not about they can't raise investment. The thing that kills more startups is founders falling out.
Any other questions? Any other questions? David, do you have anything to add?
He's just amazed.
I don't know whether with your pitches earlier, with the pitches that were going on, and I guess they're going to go on, is that I didn't see any of the other team come up. Now, maybe that wasn't allowed, but at least in questions, that's when you bring the team up, because the panel, everybody should be judging the team. So you bring the rest of the team up because you're probably not the expert to answer the tech question or the design question, etc.
I think that's an issue with being scared of public speaking. They don't want to be on stage. And that's, that's a thing, I consider Central and Eastern Europe a very tough crowd region. It's very hard to get them excited, very hard to get them to manifest themselves. And actually, yeah, right. And actually putting them on a stage, with people looking at them, it frightens them. And it's normal. I mean, when I pitched the first time 4 years ago, I was scared to death. I couldn't speak or anything. And it takes practice. It takes a lot of practice. But because they're so scared of it, and it's only one guy, usually the hustler, who's like, I'll do it. And, they just don't get into it. So they're like, no, you do it. It's fine. Yeah. So, I have, I don't know, a lot of feedback about the personalities. And I think the personalities are the thing that matters most in a startup. Because if you have, even if it's opposite, which sometimes can create a lot more, growth, a lot more traction when you have two people that are fighting all the time and a lot of good ideas come out of it, but they also have to be, willing to agree with each other and make compromises like a marriage. I'm divorced, so I shouldn't really talk about it.
Yeah, but if you think of it, it's much more likely that two identical personalities will confront themselves day in, day out, because for instance, if you have two choleric personalities, rest assured those guys will yell at each other all day long. If you have a choleric with a phlegmatic, those guys will get along well, or perhaps, you know, have a melancholic, and that sometimes technology people are melancholic because they are very much detail oriented. They, you know, kind of don't pay attention to the others. They just focus on their business. So that's actually the way a team should look, in my opinion. Of course, it's up to every founder how they do it.
I also would agree with you, because in majority, I would say like in 99%, all teams or like people who have ideas, products to develop, the problem is not for them to get money to do that. The problem for them is to find right people in the team to deal with them, to understand which way they go, yes, compromise, to make a customer development. So everything what is connecting with human relations and figure out what's actually happening. For example, in our case, like that was the most funny thing, like when programmers joined the program TechPeaks, and the guy said like, okay, here I figure out that as an entrepreneur, I need not only to code, but to communicate with people. That was a surprise for me. And I found out that, for example, I'm talking here with so many people that I can't imagine like I would do that during a year back home, you know, like during a couple of weeks here. So that's the thing, and get out from the box.
And I also think that, you know, if you're matching the personality of another person, that you are steering away from being caught up in founding a startup with someone that is in the startup industry just because of the lifestyle and doesn't really believe in it. And I think that lifestyle entrepreneurs, as they are called, it's big right now. You know, it's just people that think that, yeah, I'm smart and I can do this, and that's probably where the, you know, the attitude comes from. But passion is what differentiates the lifestyle entrepreneurs from the actual people that can build something together and, you know, are more flexible. And
there was a study on this thing in Europe that just few people could be leaders and tons of them could be followers, and just, let's say, join the moment when you already defined everything. So that's why it's a lifestyle in some way, and unfortunately it's bad sometimes, because it's not about doing business, because startup is also by doing business, not living the way how it is.
Cool. So apparently the right team is a team that is focused or revolving around the passion for the same ideas, a passion for the same product, a passion for the same, you know, life-changing experience or whatever their product is. So yeah, if you find someone that has the same passion, shares the same passion as you, you have a lot more chances to succeed with your startup than just hiring whoever. And I think that usually when you're interviewing people, you know, to hire them, you can see in the first probably 30 seconds from when you pitch, you know, you start pitching your idea, and you can see, you know, from there, it's like falling in love when they're like, oh yeah, I totally want to do this. And I think that, you know, especially in the early stage of a startup, it's very important to hire someone that is passionate about what you're doing, and then figure out from there, you know, how you can match your talents and all that. Thank you very much for your input. And you guys didn't have any more questions, so thank you.